Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk Talk Speak. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the really quite remarkable century-long story of Panasonic.
That's right. You sent over this analysis, the Panasonic Ukuyuo, the corporate story analysis. It's quite comprehensive.
It really is. And our mission, essentially, is to unpack this, figure out how a company that started with, well, pretty simple ideas managed to navigate, a whole century of massive change.
And keeps adapting, even now.
Exactly. We want to pull out those key innovations, the big strategic shift that really defined their journey based on what's in this report.
It's a great way to look at business resilience, I think. How those core principles they started with held up. It's not just about lasting 100 years, is it? It's about that constant adaptation.
Totally. And the report kicks off right away with the founder, Konosuke Matsushita. His background, apprentice at a bicycle shop, that seemed key.
Yeah, it gave him that grounding, didn't it? Understanding what customers actually need. Quality, reliability.
And his main idea, the water tap philosophy. Can you explain that a bit?
Well, the report frames it as wanting to make high-quality products abundant and affordable, like water from a tap. The goal was genuinely to improve people's lives through these products.
It's interesting how that wasn't just about profit, right? It baked in this long-term vision of helping society. Seems quite different from a lot of startups today.
Absolutely. That alignment, company success tied to customer well-being, probably built a really solid foundation.
And they formalized it really early on. The report mentions this 250-year company mission announced in 1932.
Can you imagine setting a mission for 2.5 centuries? It's almost unbelievable thinking, providing affordable, practical electrical goods for daily well-being for that long.
It's wild. And it wasn't just about the products themselves. There was this people before products idea, alu, the report calls it, making people before making things.
Right. Suggesting that, investing in your workforce, developing your people, that's the essential first step to making good products and having a successful business.
A focus on culture from the very beginning.
Yeah, you see that in a lot of companies that manage to last, that emphasis on a motivated team driving quality.
So let's rewind. How did it all start? The report says 1918, Matsushita Electric Housewares Manufacturing Works. Tiny operation.
Really tiny. Out of their home, basically.
Yeah.
Just Matsushita, his wife, and his brother-in-law. Three people.
And what were they making? These improved light bulb sockets.
Yeah, sockets and these double sockets. And the key thing, according to the report, was they were just better quality, but also cheaper. Significantly cheaper, like 30 to 50% below market price.
So that water tap idea was there from day one?
Pretty much, yeah. Putting it straight into practice.
But selling them wasn't totally smooth sailing. They had this issue with a single wholesaler.
Right. Initially, they relied on one main distributor.
Yeah.
But then competitors started undercutting them, causing problems. Matsushita's move, the report says, was to go direct, engage with other wholesalers himself.
Smart. Broaden their reach, stabilize things, shows that early adaptability, doesn't it?
It really does. Great product isn't always enough. You need the right strategy to get it out there. He clearly understood the market dynamics.
Okay, so moving forward a bit, branding starts to become a thing. The report flags 1927, the birth of the national brand.
And funnily enough, the first product under that brand, a bullet-shaped bicycle lamp, had actually been developed a few years earlier, in 1923.
Why national? What was the thinking there?
The report explains it was quite deliberate, to signify providing quality products for the whole nation, for everyone in Japan. It really connected the company's mission to national well-being.
And that national line just kept growing, didn't it?
Oh yeah, from those first electrical bits and bike lamps to radios, TVs, audio gear, kitchen appliances, all sorts of things.
And the report emphasizes this was all aimed at improving living standards, especially, after World War II during that Reconstruction period.
Absolutely. National became synonymous with progress, with a better life. It built this incredibly strong domestic base, which was vital for what came next.
All right, the post-war era. And that's where the Sanyo story comes in too, right? Founded by Matsushita's brother-in-law.
Yeah, it's an interesting side note. Started as a supplier, then became a competitor, and then much later, Panasonic actually acquired Sanyo in 2009. Shows those complex relationships in Japanese industry.
But focusing on Panasonic, or Matsushita Electric as it was then, post-war saw huge product diversification. The report lists some milestones.
Black and white TV in 52, electric mixers, fridges in 53.
That automatic rice cooker in 1959 must have been massive.
Oh, definitely. A huge time saver for households. Then color TV, Microwaves in '66, these weren't just gadgets. They were changing daily life.
So they've got this strong domestic base with national, then comes the push towards globalization.
Exactly. And that's where new branding comes in. The report mentions Panasonic emerging in 1955.
Specifically for overseas, audio and lighting.
That's right, PAM for all-encompassing, Sonic for sound, clearly signaling international ambitions in those areas.
But why Panasonic eventually, not Panasonic? The report mentions practical reasons.
Yeah, basically trademark issues. Apparently, national was already registered or difficult to use in some key markets, particularly the Americas. So Panasonic became the go-to international brand. It's funny how logistics shape global strategy sometimes.
And Konosuke Matsushita's U.S. visit in 1961 was important here.
Seems so. The report links that visit to starting Panasonic TV production and sales in the U.S. Then they expanded the brand to Europe in 1979, a gradual, strategic rollout.
And we can't skip Technics, can we? That high-end audio brand from '65.
Definitely not. Known for quality components, and especially that iconic SL-1200 turntable. Still a legend among vinyl fans.
So Technics was about capturing that premium audio market, showcasing their technical skill.
Precisely. A deliberate move upscale.
Then comes the big unification. 2003, they decide Panasonic is this single global brand.
Yeah, a major step. Followed by changing the actual company name to Panasonic Corporation in 2008.
And the report notes they phased out national in Japan around 2010 and Sanyo by early 2012, really consolidating that single global identity.
It was crucial for becoming a truly unified global company. Streamlined marketing, consistent image everywhere.
The report also tracks the company names themselves, which is quite revealing.
It is, isn't it? From Matsushita Electric Housewares Manufacturing Works, very specific.
To Matsushita Electric Industrial Co., Ltd., showing that bigger scale.
Then Panasonic Corporation, aligning with the brand.
And now, since 2022, Panasonic Holdings Corporation.
Right. That latest shift to a holding structure is key. The report says it's about giving the different operating companies more autonomy, more flexibility to compete in their specific fields.
So breaking down that monolithic structure.
Exactly, making them nimbler, more focused. Essential for managing such diverse businesses, from appliances to, complex B2B stuff like Blue Yonder software.
Okay, let's talk about their modern structure, this operating company system from April 2022.
Yeah, designed to boost competitiveness. The report lists them out. You've got the main Panasonic Corporation handling lifestyle appliances, HVAC, lighting.
Then Panasonic Connect for B2B solutions, supply chain, public services, infrastructure, entertainment. Blue Yonder gets a specific mention there.
A huge part of their B2B strategy now. Then there's Panasonic Industry doing components, factory automation, industrial gear.
Panasonic Energy, crucial for batteries, obviously, for consumers, industry, and EVs.
Plus housing solutions, entertainment and communication, and even an internal one, operational excellence.
It really shows the breadth, doesn't it? Consumer and B2B, side by side, but distinct.
Yeah, allows for much more targeted strategies and investment in each area.
And the report points out an important change for Automotive Systems, now an equity method affiliate. They partnered with Apollo Global Management.
Right, signals a shift in how they approach automotive. Still involved, but maybe sharing the risk and investment through partnership.
So under the holding company, the report groups these into 5 core segments: lifestyle, automotive, connect, industry, and energy.
Provides a clear picture of the main business pillars.
Lifestyle focuses on home and commercial spaces, big on energy saving, natural refrigerants, especially in Japan and China.
Ties back to those founding principles, but also current sustainability trends.
Automotive covers infotainment, driver assistance systems, ADS, head-up displays, HUD, EV solutions. Mentions a heart motive concept.
Yeah, interesting angle. Suggests focusing on the human side of car tech and reflects that shift to an equity affiliate structure too.
Connect is all about B2B solutions, manufacturing, logistics, retail. Big focus on efficiency, labor shortages, sustainability. Blue Yonder is central here.
Absolutely. That acquisition really put them on the map in enterprise software for supply chains.
Industry provides components and equipment across sectors, addressing labor shortages, data growth, environmental issues, aiming for carbon-neutral manufacturing.
Supplying the building blocks for lots of other industries. Their focus on sustainability there is important.
And energy is focused on mobility and infrastructure. EV batteries are huge, but also industrial and consumer batteries, all driving towards CO2 reduction, electrification.
Definitely a key growth engine, that energy segment, especially EV batteries.
The report really stresses how these segments are linked, though. overarching themes like sustainability, digital tech, AI, and this big shift towards B2B and solution selling.
Yeah, it's not just a random collection. There's synergy. Expertise from one area can definitely feed into others.
Okay, let's dig into some transformation milestones. The report highlights this major strategic shift, moving from being mainly a consumer electronics giant towards B2B solutions. Why was that necessary?
Well, basically, profits in consumer electronics got squeezed hard. Fierce price competition, products becoming commodities. It just got tougher and tougher to make good money long term.
So they had to evolve.
Pretty much. The report points to key B2B areas. Automotive, even with the structural change, batteries, especially EVs and the Tesla Link, supply chain software with Blue Yonder and other B2B services.
Leveraging their tech expertise in markets with potentially better margins.
Exactly. These areas often need deeper tech know-how and allow for more customized, higher-value solutions.
The report also brings up some classic product stories, like VHS beating Betamax.
Ah, yes, the format wars. The report suggests it wasn't purely about tech superiority, but things like longer recording times and, crucially, getting broader industry backing. Building that ecosystem.
A lesson in market strategy, not just engineering.
Definitely. A classic business school case study, really.
And another one? Lumix digital cameras. How did they succeed there?
Partnership with Leica was key, according to the report. Plus their own strengths in image processing, good design, user-friendliness. They became leaders in things like optical image stabilization and 4K video early on.
Showed they could adapt to digital and use partnerships effectively.
Absolutely. Created a strong brand in a competitive space.
Now, these big transformation strategies, Panasonic Transformation, PX, and Panasonic Go. Let's start with PX, launched in 2021.
Yeah, PX is described as the internal engine for change, boosting competitiveness through overhauling IT, processes, operations, even culture. Digital transformation is right at the center.
So, building the foundations for this future direction.
Essentially, yes. The report details things like re-engineering supply chains, standardizing manufacturing ERP systems, improving procurement, HR processes, even using AI chatbots internally.
It mentions specific examples like cutting distributor inventory, standardizing ERP in China.
Right. And using data better, developing talent through things like PX ambassadors, modernizing IT with cloud tech. These are deep, fundamental changes across the board.
Aiming for more efficiency, agility, better decisions.
Precisely. And the report gives a tangible example, rolling out smart factory solutions from their Nevada battery plant to the new one in Kansas. Shows they're implementing this stuff in core operations.
Not just PowerPoints.
Hopefully not.
Okay, then there's Panasonic Go. This is positioned as the 5th chapter of that 250-year plan.
Yeah, it's the forward-looking vision. The core idea is marrying their traditional hardware strength with next-gen software, especially AI.
And they have a big target, AI-driven businesses making up 30% of revenue by 2035.
That's a huge ambition. Clearly signals where they see the future growth coming from. AI is central to Panasonic Go.
The report mentions key moves under this banner. Acquiring Blue Yonder fits right in.
Definitely enhances their AI supply chain capabilities.
And this Panasonic Well thing, an AI home health platform with an AI coach called Umi using Anthropic's tech.
Yeah, that's an interesting new direction. And partnerships with AI leaders like Anthropic are crucial for getting the expertise they need.
These investments and partnerships seem vital for speeding up their AI push.
Absolutely. Faster way to get capabilities and enter new markets compared to doing it all organically.
The report also revisits some key M&A and alliances. Sanyo in 2009 for batteries and solar. Blue Yonder in 2021 for supply chain AI.
And that long-term Tesla battery partnership is massive. Gigafactory 1, working on new cells like the 4680.
Plus collaborations with Toyota Prime Life Technologies for smart cities, Prime Planet Energy for automotive batteries.
These external deals have clearly been instrumental. Quick access to new tech, new growth areas, new capabilities, smart strategy.
Okay, so how's the market viewing all this? Let's look at external evaluations and brand stuff. Analysts first. Zacks Investment Research leans towards strong buy.
Seems generally positive from that quarter, yeah.
But Simply Wellseen sounds a bit more mixed. Slight revenue dip expected, but earnings growth, potentially lower return on equity.
Right. And Panasonic's own recent results showed slightly lower revenue, but much better operating profit.
So the picture is cautiously optimistic. Potential from the big shifts, but short-term challenges acknowledged.
That sounds about right. The market sees the transformation, sees the potential upside, but also knows these big shifts take time and investment, creating some uncertainty near term.
What about consumer perception, the brand image? The report says there are positives.
Definitely. Long-standing reputation for quality, innovation, especially in appliances, high-end gear, strong image with older demographics, seen positively in places like India and China too for tech and quality. That legacy is valuable.
But there are negatives too. Criticisms about durability, service for specific products on review sites.
Yeah, the report mentions issues flagged for things like air conditioners, TVs on platforms like mailshut.com. Suggests some gaps in the customer experience for certain B2C products.
And the challenge of transitioning the brand image more towards B2B, potentially losing touch with younger consumers.
It's a real challenge. Lower recognition among younger generations is mentioned, plus the need for better media engagement in places like India. They're trying things, like that Welcome to Adulthood campaign.
So overall, a mixed brand picture. Strong legacy, but some current B2C friction and the need to stay relevant for younger people.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Leverage the history, but also prove quality and relevance today, especially as they focus more on B2B.
How do they stack up against competitors? In TVs, it's the usual suspects. Samsung, LG, Sony. Panasonic's strategy in the US is high-end OLED mini LED with Fire TV.
Yeah, seems like targeting the premium segment makes sense given the competition. Using Fire TV could be smart too. They ranked 4th in a US trust study, which is decent.
Home appliances. LG, Daikin, Mitsubishi Electric. Panasonic gets points for efficiency, quietness, durability, but maybe higher cost and patchier service availability.
That's often the trade-off, right? Premium features versus cost, and service access is always a big factor for appliances.
Then the big one, EV batteries. CATL, BYD, LG, Samsung, SDI are the giants. Panasonic share is around 6%, ranked 4th or 6th, depending on the metric.
It's an incredibly tough market, but the report anticipates a rebound for Panasonic, banking on their North American footprint, the Tesla link, and new battery tech like 2170 and 4680.
Their partnerships in tech will be absolutely critical there.
No doubt.
And in B2B, Blue Yonder is seen as a leader in supply chain software.
Confirmed by Gartner Magic Quadrant placement, the report notes.
Industrial automation, they're up against Siemens, ABB, offering a wide range. And in Connect Pro AV, rugged laptops, they lead in bright projectors, even partnering with ORIX.
So in B2B, they're leveraging existing tech strengths and finding niches where they can lead or partner effectively.
It really highlights that dual competition they face traditional consumer rivals versus specialized B2B players. Their strategy is clearly leaning into B2B now.
Makes sense. Play to their strengths in deep engineering and building complex solutions.
What about their overall innovation capability? The report says historically strong, fast R&D, but challenges emerged.
Yeah, profitability declined in digital video, mobile phones as they became commodities. And even in EV batteries, despite tech advantages, they faced intense price wars.
So the current focus is shifting, anticipating future needs, developing solutions, more emphasis on software, data. AI CEO Kasumi keeps stressing this.
Right. They're still strong in patents, though the report notes a recent dip in ranking. The big challenge is moving from being hardware-centric to really driving innovation and revenue through software and solutions.
Competing with native software companies while leveraging that hardware base.
Exactly. It requires a different mindset, different skills. Integrating hardware and software effectively is key.
Now, let's look at how they navigate change adaptability, sustainable operations, strategic adjustments. The report mentions workforce reduction.
Yeah, a planned 4% global cut, about 10,000 roles, through early retirement and consolidating units. Also, CEO Kusumi's focus on ROIC, return on invested capital, needing to be higher than WACC, the cost of capital.
Basically, ensuring investments pay off and exiting unprofitable businesses by fiscal 2027.
These are tough but decisive moves to boost profitability and focus resources.
They also adjusted EV battery plants, right? Delaying a third U.S. factory, focusing on the Kansas plant for now.
Shows responsiveness to market conditions, perhaps short-term EV demand fluctuations.
What about supply chain resilience? Chip shortages are mentioned.
They're tackling it through diversifying suppliers, long-term deals, R&D into alternatives. Panasonic Connect is even using AI with IBM for manufacturing insights. Events like factory fires also highlight the risks they manage.
And a big push for a secure North American EV battery supply chain, aiming to cut reliance on Chinese materials by 2025.
That's a major strategic goal. Plus, focusing on sustainable sourcing and recycling, like the Redwood Materials Partnership for battery recycling. Very important in today's climate.
Organizationally, that holding company structure is meant to improve things.
Give more autonomy, yeah. Though CEO Kusumi also acknowledged the risk of higher fixed costs at the group level and the need to streamline headquarters.
And the PX program is key for driving efficiency across the board. Reforming fixed costs is a priority.
Seems so. It's that constant balancing act. Empower the businesses but keep overall costs under control. PX is the tool for that optimization.
Okay, crafting the future blueprint. Integrating AI, IoT, green tech.
These are the pillars, really. AI is central to Panasonic Go, aiming for that 30% revenue target. We see it in internal tools, Blue Yonder, the Anthropic partnership, the Umi AI coach.
IoT is the foundation for connected living, smart homes, smart factories, energy management, using data from connected devices.
Right, envisioning these cyber-physical systems that understand user needs.
And green technology is a core principle. Big investments in hydrogen, high-efficiency solar, natural refrigerants, sustainable materials.
Things like Durabio Nagori. It's clear these three trends, AI, IoT, green tech, are deeply integrated into their future strategy.
The report dives deep into Panasonic Green Impact, PGI, and their green transformation, GX strategy. The goals sound massive.
They're ambitious. Net zero emissions in their own operations by 2030, and reducing or avoiding over 300 million tons of CO2 across their value chain by 2050, which they equate to about 1% of current global emissions.
Wow. How do they plan to do that?
The GX strategy has two pillars, carbon neutrality and circular economy.
Okay, carbon neutrality involves energy saving, switching to electric heat pumps, using hydrogen fuel cells, safer refrigerants.
Exactly. And circular economy means using more recycled renewable materials. They give examples like specific shavers and hair dryers. Also shifting to leasing or subscription models and boosting recycling through facilities like their Eco Technology Center.
So a really comprehensive approach to sustainability, covering their own footprint and their product's impact.
Definitely. It seems deeply embedded now, not just an add-on.
And they're still talking about that 250-year plan. How does that fit in now?
They're positioning Panasonic Go, with its focus on AI and software, as the fifth chapter of that plan. It's about using today's tech to continue contributing to society, solving problems, keeps that long-term perspective alive.
Provides a narrative thread linking back to the founder's vision.
Yeah, gives continuity and purpose.
So final thoughts on future prospects. The report suggests moderate revenue changes, maybe better profits from restructuring, but ROE might still be a challenge.
Seems a realistic assessment. Growth hopes are pinned on specific areas.
Automotive batteries are seen as a key engine, despite EV market ups and downs, especially focused on North America and new tech.
High potential, high competition.
The solutions businesses connect, industry, Blue Yonder are a major focus, aiming for double-digit profit margins. SEM and energy management look promising.
That's where a lot of the strategic shift is directed.
Lifestyle needs to tackle that consumer feedback and brand perception. Energy beyond EVs has potential in hydrogen and smart energy management.
So a mixed bag, leveraging strengths, pushing hard into B2B and green tech, but needing to manage challenges in consumer areas.
To wrap up then, this deep dive into Panasonic's century shows an incredible story of adaptation, doesn't it? Driven by those founding ideas, but constantly transforming.
Absolutely. And this current shift towards B2B, AI, and sustainability seems like the defining move for their next chapter.
It really is a testament to their ability to reinvent themselves while somehow staying true to that core mission of societal contribution.
It's quite remarkable when you lay it all out.
So here's a final thought for you to consider. Given Panasonic's knack for reinvention and their heavy bets now on AI and sustainability, what kinds of disruptive innovations might we actually see coming from them next? And how could those really change things for us?
That is the big question, isn't it? The next part of their long story could be very interesting indeed.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.